So thank you very much for your participation, all the participants. So we'll take up next lecture from Sergey Masyagin. I hope I read it right, Sergey. Okay.
Yes, yes, it's okay. It's okay.
Okay.
Can
So
you hear me?
welcome to the session, Global Manufacturing Summit, Sergey. So thank you very much. The topic we talk is achieving supply chain synchronization with manufacturing operations. Okay, so now we talk about supply chain synchronization with manufacturing. As in the first session, as Dr. Narayana says that the overall optimization does not only happens in manufacturing, but it is all across supply chain. So Sergey is a seasoned supply chain strategist, a thought leader specialized in digital transformation, AI-enabled planning, and end-to-end supply chain architecture. He helps organizations embed intelligent planning and decision supports into their operations to boost agility, reduce manual efforts, and handle disruptions more effectively. Known for bridging ERP planning and automation layers, Sergey focuses on turning supply chain complexity into streamlined, future-ready systems. Sergey, welcome to the show. So over to you.
Thank you, Shrek.
You can
Okay.
introduce about yourself from. I think you from where you are joining, and you
Yeah,
can just.
so let me share my screen now, and I have a presentation. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, you can see your screen.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, so today I will be talking about synchronization, supply chain, and manufacturing, and we are at the operations or manufacturing summit. So I will of planning and supply chain into your world. I hope so. About me, so I'm a pure planning guy. So I have a lots of experience in doing the actual supply chain planning of different kinds, demand planning, supply planning, DRP, MPA, everything end to end. I started my career in Procter & Gamble, spent there like 8-9 years. I was launching planning service centers like more than 10 years ago. We were planning remotely, manufacturing multiple sites remotely. At a time, it was like a breakthrough. And currently I'm working mainly with the big global companies in the FMCG, pharma, and let's say semiconductor industry. Actually improve the planning and implement the advanced planning solutions, right? With AI, with calculations on the flow, etc., etc. And I will be sharing some of this later on during the discussion. But more importantly, I want to actually, because I think there is a lot of hype now on the market around AI orchestration and all these kind of things. But I will share a little bit of my view, what is really required to make a step change in term and become more agile and more synchronized, right? My core experience, as I mentioned, is supply chain specifically. So we are talking about synchronization, right? But there are things which are preventing to be, let's say, ideal or synchronized in what are those? I just want to mention a few, so that then we go into the details and then discuss it one by one. Okay. So we have an MOQ mismatch between the different stages of the supply chain, and this joint and mis-synchronization between the phases and make your supply chain worse, let's say, right? Lead time disconnect. So for example, you can come to the store and pick something from the store, and your lead time would be like a few, let's say, minutes, and then it takes more time to deliver to the store, and then it takes more time to replenish to the previous level, and then etc., etc. And then it's the entire lead time, the demand lead time is in hours, let's say, and then your manufacturing lead time would be in terms of production. We'll get into this one more in the point 6. Then a classic one is cost versus service trade-offs, where you need to decide basically if you want to optimize your manufacturing efficiencies or inventory, right? That's what to actually do today, right? You did all the planning, but what you have to do today, you need to decide based on something, right? So, and you always have a conflicting priorities. Yeah, we also have a lot of disruptions around us. You know them very well. And the bullwhip effect, I will share a few words in a minute about it. So now let's move into the details, right? MOQ. So, for example, let's say that planning says that our MOQ is, but your sales team will sell whatever they let's say able to sell, right? And it could be low margin SKUs, slow moving SKUs, or something which you would not really want to price from the, let's say, supply chain perspective, something which would difficult for you to make, right? And then you always have a situation when you have a production field with something, so you're constantly doing something, and then your order bump there with like a small order for, let's say, important customer, and then you have to reshuffle everything. So this drives the changes. Change has a cost, and then you will end up paying for a change and actually put in some inventory later on, because you will be afraid that this customer needs this SKU, and then you have to put something on stock so you can supply it. So these are the behavior patterns in the supply chain. Then let's talk about lead times. Okay, so how the planning system works. So we have a lead time in the system, and it's really good when it's maintained. I saw when even lead times are not maintained or maintained incorrectly, or not maintained in full, and in the given complexities. Let's say if you're a global organization, you have a distribution network, you have a manufacturing network, and there you have a lots of lead time. To say just one element of lead time, like a generic lead time between the order comes and then the supply arrives. But in reality, you have lots of lead time. You have goods receipt time, you have goods issue time, you have processing time. You can have different elements, more elements into it, all gets together, and then it's quite complex situation. It needs to be also monitored, and all this lead time are subject to change from time to time. But here, let's say with this one. So lead time disconnect. Let's say our fixed lead time is 4 weeks, but in reality, it's a variable, because you put 4 weeks when your actual manufacturing time will take maybe days, so like few days, something like that. And then in reality, your actual response time to the specific order might vary depending on if you have stock to make this order, if it's a priority one, to make an urgent change, etc. So your actual lead time is variable. It could be maybe from 1 week to 8 weeks, something like that. And this also drives disconnect or instability in supply chain. A typical thing, straightforward cost versus service trade-off. So how much you need to what are the batch sizes, right? How often you need to change? What should be the mix between the products? So this type of questions. So the following. So if you have a smaller MOQ, faster response time, then you have lesser inventory, right? But then it comes at a cost. So the question is, if you are capable already from the manufacturing standpoint to be very agile, because agility actually is a foundation to that later. So cost versus service is basically inventory versus your fixed cost and variable costs at manufacturing, warehousing, transportation, For example, on transportation, it's also would be a good example. You can ship in the full truck mode, or you can ship in the pallet, right? And but the cost per piece will change dramatically, right? If you want to be very agile, you will reduce your shipment size. If you want to be cost efficient, you will ship the full truck, right? And the truth is somewhere in the middle. So priority conflicts, right? So we are at the manufacturing summit. So from my experience, manufacturing leaders are focused on efficiency, OEE, and actual output and quality. Supply chain will be very focused on service level from the customer, because they are facing the sales and sometimes the customer, and the inventory. Inventory basically gets into the P&L. That's why it's actually they have a lot of pressure from the service and the inventory side, also from the manufacturing. When manufacturing people says this is my MOQ, which covers typically like weeks or sometimes months of production, and then it's difficult to navigate through the customer needs, the finance needs, and the realities, right? And I will be talking later on how we can navigate through this situation. External disruptions, I think this is very clear. So sanctions like tariffs, this year we saw it, regulatory changes, quality issues, these kind of things, right? Something which you was not expecting, but it happened. For example, on your raw material or pack material supply gets broken, you don't have supply for 8 weeks, 4 weeks. What do you do? How you solve this? Will this impact your finished goods output? Oh yeah, for sure, yes, it will impact your output. So you have to be ready for the big challenges, right? And the more agile supply chain, the better you. But it happens. So in reality, we always have in supply chain world every day you have some kind of issues, right? So bigger or smaller, but there are issues. It's managing. It's about managing exceptions, and it's basically there are no days when there is no material changes, no urgent orders. This is just that would be my dream. But in reality, always you have a lot of situations where the planner needs to navigate through and meet all the KPIs at the end. This one is the classic one. I just want to stop by very briefly on this. It's the effect of it's also known as a Forrester effect. It's basically when a small change on the finished good side, let's say on the store side, that the customer comes to the store and takes one piece. It's a small change. Then when it gets to the next level, retailer will order a bit more because customers has bought a little bit more, but retailer cannot order. Let's say customer took extra 2 pieces, right? And then retailer has to deliver extra 2 pieces, but they cannot buy extra 2 pieces. They have to buy extra box, let's say. And box is, let's say, 50 pieces, right? And then they buy 50 pieces. And then distributor says, hey, I cannot ship you just 1 or like 2 boxes. I ship you like a pallet or half pallet or 1 layer from the pallet. That's why it's also increased. And then you see very sporadic requests, more or less. It could be like a weekly or monthly or like every 2 weeks, something like that. And the big orders, because the distributor will not order from you like a pellet or half a pellet. They will order like a full truck. They will order half truck, which makes your cost efficient and manufacturing efficient. So that's this is known as the bullwhip effect, the Forrester effect, when the small change somewhere in the supply chain drives a bigger change on the manufacturing side. So manufacturing, when you are sitting on supply chain on the manufacturing side, right? And there you see things differently. So you see it's huge changes happening on the demand side. Something always happening, and you always have to react. but to a large extent it happens due to Forster effect and all this when the MOQ increases. And the amplification here ratio is here typically 2 to 5. So like the magnitude from the first level to the end will be like 5 times more typically. So if you can, you probably can type in the chat which of the elements of this have you seen in your organization. Just you can put just one number. If you saw anything of this, or you can if you face something else. Okay, good. Thank you for your inputs. So we are moving forward. So basically I stopped by on the issues, right? So then let's discuss how synchronization looks like, right? So to me, synchronization looks like as a system where there is a connected or close to real-time loop within the organization. So for some organization that would loop reconnect when things let's say happens in the morning, and then it's reported within, let's say, hours to the planning, and then planning is reacting also within few hours and replanning things. Right? This all sounds very, very. In reality, it requires a lot of capability on all fronts, right? So the manufacturing should be able to understand and report the issue correctly. So, for example, what kind of breakdown it is? Is it how long it will take to fix it, right? Because one thing is you're reporting that the line is down, another thing you're saying the line is down for 4 hours or 8 hours or 2 days. Okay, so this information is critical for the planning, and then planning also should be capable of going into the system and actually using the system do the replan, right? This is not always possible, but this is how synchronization looks like. So communication between the departments and then planning reacting. In terms of manufacturing planning, they also would have to check how, before they can actually change the manufacturing plan, that they have to talk to the customers or representative of, if they have raw and pack materials supply. Sometimes other constraints like warehouse and transportation constraints. So all this has to be considered during this activity. That's why it's like it's an element of the synchronization, right? What helps is time fences, aligned time fences. So typically it's implemented to some extent, but not fully. So what like these numbers are typical for, let's say, FMCG and like in the industrial manufacturing. So basically current week, a week or 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks is frozen. It's basically no changes there allowed. The plan is fixed, no changes possible. Assuming this, to enable this happening in reality, you have to keep in mind that to enable this frozen zone to happen, you have to have all the capacity fixed. You have to have all the people, basically all resources, including raw materials, pack materials, other materials, services, whatever. Okay, so whatever is in the frozen zone is a must-have. This is nothing should be ready, right? So for some organizations, I had seen the frozen zone is like one shift, and then that they're capable of changing the plan for the next shift. So it's a very agile organizations with fast suppliers delivery, or with fast suppliers delivery with stock on hand for some other raw materials. Others would like pharma would for pharma, the frozen zone would be 8 weeks, 12 weeks, something like that, given the lead times and complexities. So it really depends on the industry, but the principle is the same, right? So it's a fixed zone, everything is sealed there. So slushy, or like the period where it's likely fixed or firmed, right? So we have an outlook, but we still can change there within the reasonable amount, maybe plus 30% agreement and flexibility. And then basically whatever is beyond week 6 or week 8 or 12, depending on the organization, then it's completely open. So whatever happens there is assumed basically okay, right? In the synchronization, should have also a process, rough cut capacity planning, RCCP, where you're actually looking on a weekly basis and monthly basis. If you have enough capacity and other resources, if you have issues with other resources, let's say warehousing, transportation, people, so you're doing the plan, like rough plan for the next slushy periods of weeks, right? Expressed in weeks, let's say 12 weeks. And then you're checking if you have all the resources, yes or no. So this helps a lot to do the synchronization. And then, of course, the unified KPIs. So so what might help is for manufacturing people to become also responsible for the service, customer service, which they deliver, and for the people from planning who actually can impose lots of changes on the line and break the OEE of the plant. They also have to be limited by the number of changes, right? That they are allowed and the type of changes. So this kind of thing. So it's like an SLA agreement between the manufacturing and the planning. So that really helps. Excuse me. So this is synchronization. So what you will actually see is the leader in the supply chain. So a daily, like a stand-up meeting where you put your demand planner, production, and materials. You have a dashboard where you check all the results together from the manufacturing and supply chain. So you will track OEE and do the joint decisions. Also, that there might be some levels, so they could be shift meeting, then department meeting, then plant meeting, then the regional meeting. So this could be cascaded, and the production floor activities like checking changeovers, checking readiness of materials, and checking the complexities of the plan, if it's possible to do or not. So what would be the typical results of this program? I will tell you how actually it's possible to do. So in terms of service, you should be able to see plus 5 to 10%, depending where you are. If you don't measure service today, so likely you will be in the 70% or so, 70-80% or so. Okay, to get approved. Inventory typical is like 10% to 30%. Okay, so this range, this is absolutely doable. Firefighting, like less firefighting basically, and cultures like working as a one team, not like blaming between the supply chain and operations, right? So how would you achieve it? That's, I think, the key question. And I will stop by on this in a minute. So I started my speech. All these modern cool features about orchestration and synchronization, etc., is all cool. But in order to, this is like a cherry on the pie. In order to make the things really get synchronized, you have to have the foundations right. So these are the actual steps you have to follow to get supply chain synchronized. And I want to say that this is not like you cannot do like one project here or there and then assume that you are now getting synchronized. Like a large organization or leaders in the area, they actually manage it as a program, right? So there is a decision of this company to build the capability across supply chain and manufacturing. These programs have been there for decades, and it all gets together into the same, as we mentioned here, looking into the getting the service and inventory at the same time, right? Because this is, you can typically do better service but with lots of inventory, or poor service with low inventory, right? We are talking about how to do both service and inventory right. So these are the 5 areas you can look at, and I intentionally put IT systems at the end of the list because I think it has lesser priority versus all other steps, despite the fact that many people try to fix all kinds of issues by implementing some cool IT system. Okay, so what are the steps? So basically build the technical capabilities. I will share a few more words. Then portfolio complexity, data, and at the end, of course, IT systems. So let's go one by one. So strengthen technical and operational capability. So manufacturing is the enabler, because manufacturing and, let's say, broader operation, so transportation operation, warehouse operation, it's all operation. It all has its MOQs, it all has its lead time, which are driven by the real constraints. So you cannot produce, let's say, batch lesser than 10 tons due to your equipment, right? To go from 10 to 5 ton, you have to do something on the manufacturing side. So once you actually reduced your MOQ on the manufacturing side, then you would be able reduce your MOQ on the supply chain side, and get deliveries more frequently, but with a smaller quantity. So that's how you reduce inventory. You get more deliveries with smaller quantities, but if you get more deliveries, you have to pay more transportation. You have to do more touches. It means more orders, so more like transactional work for the system. Excuse me. But this is the way you actually improve and synchronize the supply chain. So how to do it? Loss reduction, so unplanned downtime, macro stock. So basically that's called restore the basics, right? So your equipment must be in the good condition. It must be cleaned, maintained, everything up and running, all documentations are available, etc., etc. Okay. So this is the foundation. Then you time reduction, time reduction and cost reduction, right? So if you, for example, keep the same time of the changeover but reduce the actual loss loss of the material generated during this changeover, this is also helps a lot, because then you can decide to invest in doing more changeovers and then reducing inventory at the end. Okay, quality related issues, so doing faster checks, lesser certifying your, for example, suppliers, getting certification by customers, so reducing the load on the quality checks and load and time. So in supply chain world, everything is time, right? You need 3-5 days on the quality. This is lead time. So basically, every day of lead time will mean I need more inventory to cover for that day. So if you reduce day will reduce your inventory more or less by 1 day, a bit less, but like still, just to simplify. Okay, so process reliability. Let's say I've seen manufacturing operations which runs, let's say, at a good OEE, but not stable, right? So if you organize the world, synchronized supply chain, that means that you are reducing your inventory in the system. That means if your line breaks and it's unpredictable, then your customer will not get a delivery, okay, because you don't have that much in the system anymore. Okay, so in order to go into synchronized world, you have to have everything working fast, agile, and reliable. So this is about stability. Portfolio. This is something which is usually overseen, this topic, because the complexity is there. Okay, and it has a certain cost, right? And if you do the typical Pareto analysis, let's say 80-20, so you will see that most of your portfolio is not performing that well. Okay, but if you think about complexity from the supply chain standpoint, let's say you have 1,000 products, right? For these 1,000 products, you have to have all the master data set up, all the bombs set up, everything set up. On the warehouse, you have to have spaces to store. You have to have all the printing done for each of these. You have to have all the deliveries happening for the small products. Typically, for the small volume, low volume products, you will produce, and this production will cover not like weeks or months; it can cover for years. So sometimes it's actually easier to go and cut like a tail of non-performing products, like 20%, 30%, depending on your situation. And typically, no one will see it. I mean, if you cut the products which are rarely produced, okay. If there are some situations where some of the products are sold together with something else, or some super important customer needs something, but it's all manageable. If you cut your complexity, you will have let's say from 1,000 SKUs, you will get down to 700 or 800 SKUs. It's much less for you to make. Okay, it's you can put more focus there. So this helps a lot on freeing up the space, and you will put more focus on the value on the SKUs which actually generates the profit, and then typically your profit and gross margin will grow. That's the output of looking into the complexity area. Data quality. So this is very interesting one. Okay, so this is really the foundation of the planning. I saw some of the projects where we all started in the conditions when the data was not there. Okay, because in order to do the planning, let's say, or advanced planning, or like even the normal planning, you should have all the bombs accurate. You should have all the routings, and it should be in the system. It should be in the consistent format. For example, you did an acquisition, and that company was not fully harmonized. So they have a different naming structure, they have different systems, they have different everything, right? But when you come to and implement, let's say, advanced planning solution, you should be able to get to the same rules. I mean, system will not understand if you give a little bit of Excel, a little bit of this data, a little bit of that data, something will be missing. So whatever planners are like fixing manually in Excel, it will not happen in the any planning system, in the automated one, right? So it has to be done before even any kind of automation. Your data has to be in a good condition. So basically, once you think about, hey, I want to automate my planning, you have to check the data. If it's there, if it's in what kind of condition it is it consistent? And if yes, think about implementing the planning solution. Okay, then planning processes. Excuse me. So talk about the strategy, planning strategy, or like service level agreement, if you wish. So let's say the organizations which are advanced in the area of supply chain synchronization and planning, what they do, detailed understanding how they plan. So they have a starting from the top, starting from the, let's say, 10-year plan, 5-year plan, 3-year plan, and then more in operational, let's say, SNOP, IBP, whatever, right? All the months monthly activities. So there to do the monthly activity, be able to generate the demand, let's say for the 12 months, 18 months. So you need an forecasting tool, right? So then this data needs to be sent into the supply. Then supply should be able to do the assessment of feasibility of doing this, of meeting that demand, right? If this is not possible, then they should provide the feedback. And this is a monthly process. And on a weekly process, there is a similar process, but looking at if as NDOP you're looking, let's say, in the 12 to 18 months horizon, then on a weekly process you're looking in like 2-3 months horizon, like firms we discussed in the beginning. So in this horizon, and then the planners are looking in the like daily or weekly in the very short horizon, just to fix and schedule the plan. And all these horizons and communication ways and the limits must be written down. Okay. So for example, you should have, you might have, not should, a list of brands and the variation. So you should, I mean, demand variation. So depending on the variation, you might decide to put more or less safety stock on some of the portfolio. So for some of the portfolio, you may say that product, like a low volume, low profit, low everything product, but I still need to keep it due to whatever reason. That for these products, I don't keep safety stock. If, for example, I have an urgent demand, I don't prioritize this. Okay, and these kind of discussions that will happen every day, right? So the more you document, the better. So ideally, it's like a book, like the strategy, SLA, where the planning principles are written, including the settings of your system. Let's say if you go in SAP, on there, turn off, what are the algorithm, how the algorithm should behave, etc., etc. So all these kind of things should be documented, so everyone speaks the same language and understand situation the same way. And then as a last point, there is comes IT system, because what I see today, not like 20 years ago, today in the planning organization. So typically there is an ERP and there is some kind of forecasting tool in the like big organizations. There might be no forecasting, but just an ERP, and everyone is basically using Excel to a large extent. Okay, or like different tools where in some tool they're doing something, then doing some extract, then upload, and then back and forth, right? So these kind of activities are there. Okay, everyone is doing this. Then keep in mind that this is the process runs this way, right? If you want to implement, let's say, an advanced planning solution, say Kinaxis or MP or 9, whatever, any system, first of all, that they require. Okay, so you must have a lot of data. This data must be accurate. Okay, you should be capable of making sense out of this data. Okay, because I saw the situations when data is there, everything is fine, but people used to work in Excel, so they don't mind. I mean, in SAP, but they don't use it. They use something else in Excel, and based on this Excel, they make a decision. And then it's actually, even if you get the data right into APS, the planners are not used to work in that way. Okay. So I think you're aware that like about the ERP and the MES, and then the integration is also clear. Yeah, and then APS comes on top, and APS comes between the APS and the ERP. Typically, there is this layer integration, which is which collects different inputs, which collects inputs from the different ERPs. Let's say if you have in different regions or different versions of the same ERP, it gets the data in, does the consolidation of the data, clean up the data, etc., and then APS, and then from APS, once the planning is done, it gets the data back, this integration layer, middleware, and then it sends into the respective ERPs in the form of orders. Okay, and then it works back and forth. Typically, update few times per day, depending on your planning processes and needs. But that's how it looks like. What are the benefits? I think I should mention about end-to-end visibility. So these advanced systems like it for the organizations which has like a global presence, regional presence. So to improve the condition when say you have multiple plants or multiple DCs, and you need to be able to see the situation, what's going on there, more or less in real time. Okay, to some extent you can do it with BI, etc. But this is just giving you the information, right? Then you have to then you say, okay, so I want to change this scenario. I want to do this change. Okay, so how would you know if this is going to work or not? Okay. So this kind of what ifs is the basis of the advanced planning. So because you put all your end-to-end network into the system, and you create a scenario, and then in this scenario you say, hey, I want to try these conditions, right? I want to improve lead time, I want to expedite my delivery, and I want to use this line. Okay, so this is the scenario number one. You can check it, and you can see impact instantly right now across your supply chain, and you can see impact on your metrics, right? Like cost, service, whatever is important, and then you can basically decide, compare a few scenarios, like whatever you decide is the best scenario. You can submit, and then it will be applied directly into across the network. Okay. So there are some benefits of APS systems, but it's for very organized and very mature organizations who are really capable of implementing it and running the process in that way. Okay. For the smaller organizations, I think what would be really beneficial in terms of like tangible improvement on supply chain driving synchronization is to, if you have a poor forecasting system, just think about implementing just the forecasting part of APS, say Kinaxis or whatever, because it's quite easy to implement. Depending on the complexity, it might take say 6 to 12 months for such kind of solutions, but then you have a very like tangible improvement, tangible output. So, and this forecasting tool for forecasting, there are some actually standalone forecasting tools, right? But on the supply chain, this is the easiest one. Also, due to large extent to the change management effect, because you don't touch too many people. Usually, demand planners are just few or fewer, depending on the comparing with the other planners. So it's easy to implement. It gets tangible outputs, and it doesn't cost you a fortune. That might be like a step forward. But again, depending on your current condition, right? So then what you can do actually now, basically within the next short-term week or so, see and discuss with your team what are the real constraints, and try to get them together and put a common view across supply chain and manufacturing. Choose the few KPIs: service, inventory, OE, changeover cost, losses, whatever you measure there. Put it in the small scorecard, and then you can move forward into that direction. I have just a couple of slides more. Investment, right? So how to spread your effort when implementing this. So before this, I want to mention that this is think about it as a program, as a direction, right? So it's not like a short-term project. You have to move into that way and do consistent changes into that direction. Okay, and the more effort you need to actually spend on the people and process, changing the way people cooperate, changing the way people work, then technology, because I mean there are some tools, as I mentioned, on the forecasting etc., which would really improve the and for sure the data quality. Okay, so the key takeaways. I would start with number 2. So technology is like 20%, just process and people is like 80%. So change, big topic for in the planning. And even if you think the current process is simple and it's easy to shift to something new, it's not. Okay, this is the big topic, right? Synchronization, as I mentioned, so to choose a few KPI and then move together, and then that you have a reality, right? So you have the actual batch sizes, campaigns, current planning systems, current warehouses, like reality. Don't forget about this, right? And then the last slide. So what from my side? So what can I help? How can I help? So I can help on the audit and preparation of your supply chain for the digital transformation. Help on the transformation, cost saving program, loss analysis, and also I do the workshop or training, like the build distribution game for the ladies. This is basically for the bullwhip effect, as I mentioned. So it helps teams to get together, work together, and see each other pains from the manufacturing, also to the supply chain people, and then work in the dynamic environment. And especially for the attendees of the forum, I'd like to offer two sessions, 2 free sessions by 30 minutes. So if you're interested to talk on this topic of the supply chain automation, etc., you can scan the QR code or and register. So 2 sessions for free. So I'm done. Stop sharing. And then I will get back to the screen just for the questions if any.
Fantastic session, Sergey. Thank you very much. Very insightful. I really liked. You said that 20% is IT and 80% is your basic involvement. Okay, and you are very nicely said about the technology systems. You talk about the ERP, MES, the integrations, and then APS, advanced planning and scheduling. Okay, what happens usually is they have some missing element, and then they try to cover through Excel files or something, doing manually, and they will not get the optimum results. Okay, so it's not really about the planning engine, the way you have accurate data. You also said very nicely about
Correct.
the data accuracy and how you really want to do the planning processes. That's really great insight, Sergey. Thank you very much. And I myself, I was a planner for supply chain for a long
Okay.
time in 2008 to 2013. So I was taking care of the entire planning process. So I know that the pain and the importance of the systems in place very well. Very nicely said. So the key takeaway slide is, it tells everything. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, give a big round of applause to Sergey. And as he put his last slide, if you would like to, if anybody would like to have a quick 30-minute session to help you, so he's available. Okay, in case if you want to reach us, we can set it up a call. And if you have any questions on the entire content, the video is available in the YouTube. You can always play it. We also upload into the YouTube channel, our channel, with the link we will share. So with that, you can always keep in touch with Sergey. Okay. So thank you very much, Sergey, for a very insightful, very knowledgeable session. Okay.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Excellent,
Great
excellent to see you, and then look forward for more sessions with you. Okay.